LoreWarrior Armor. The Glaive Medium Tank. Overview. Though Robert Kelser Steiner's efforts to forge an independent Sky Nation during the Fedcom Civil War came to naught, his efforts vastly improved his position. He was seen by many in the Isle of Skye as their natural leader, and after the tragic death of Duchess Margaret A10 and her daughter Elise in 3065, he was acclaimed Duke of the Federation of Skye, granting him the political power that his father had sought for many years. Kelser Steiner's marriage to Duchess A10's last remaining child, Hermione, has solidified this hold on power. In addition, the birth earlier this year of an heir, Margaret Steiner, has now ensured the succession. The Duke has now sought to rebuild his province's defences, which were shattered by the rival forces of the Civil War, and in doing so he's paid particular attention to locally produced equipment. Cyclops Incorporated, one of Skye's major arms manufacturers, received a personal visit from Duke Robert, and he impressed on the CEO, Morgan Durant, the need for a quick development and deployment of a Skye tank to demonstrate the determination and competence of the province to ensure its defence. The result, then, was the development and deployment of the Glaive medium tank in little over 11 months. Capabilities. A key to the Glaive's swift development was the reuse of existing components. The Cyclops 12 large laser was formerly shipped to Tharkad for use in mech manufacturing, while the Kicker MGs were used in the locally built Drillson. The armour, comms, and TNT systems are likewise taken from the Drillson, though the latter have received a number of software and hardware upgrades. Only the Surefire LRM system is imported, though Cyclops' recent agreement with Coventry Metalworks will allow them to manufacture this system locally under license. The fusion power plant of the Glaive is also produced on Skye, but its origins are a little unusual. Until 3065, Cyclops only had the capability to produce ICE engines. A series of technical exchanges occurred with the Schiphol Company, manufacturers of the Seydlitz fighter and Overlord-class dropships, and this led to trials of a fighter power plant and a Cyclops chassis. And though facing a host of technical issues, the engineers persevered and eventually succeeded in mating the two systems with impressive results. Deployment. Though the Glaive has a 1.7 million C-bill per unit price tag, Duke Robert has already purchased the first two production runs for the Sky Rangers and looks set to do the same for 3068 and 3069's runs as well. The LAAF have called on more widespread deployment of the Glaive, but Duke Robert has so far dodged Tharkad's efforts by referencing the regional defence edicts that allow him to bolster Sky's defences during the internal Lyran crisis. This clever legal trickery has allowed him to escape impeachment under the private army statutes, though he knows there are limits to this power. He acknowledges that he will have to bow to the Archon's will, whoever that may be, sooner or later, and allow the Glaive to enter general service with the Lyran military. So the Glaive is a 45-ton medium vehicle. It's a wheeled movement plant, as you can tell from the art. Its power plant is a 205 Schiphol. Its cruise speed is 54 and its flank speed is 86 kph. Its armour is the Arc Shield Heavy. Its armament is a pair of Kicker machine guns, a Coventry Surefire LRM-15 with Artemis fire control, and a single Cyclops 12 extended range large laser, manufactured by Cyclops Incorporated, primarily produced on Skye. Its communication system is the Cyclops 1J, and its targeting and tracking is the Evil Eye Block 4 with Artemis 4 fire control. Stat-wise, this translates into a vehicle that can cruise 5 and flank 8 with 12 heatsinks. Its armour is 27 on the front, 17 on the sides, 12 on the rear, and 15 on the turret. Its weapons is the ER Large located in the turret on the top, with the twin machine guns either side of it. Ammunition is located in the front of the vehicle for the machine guns. The LRM-15 is front-mounted, and the Artemis fire control is there as well, alongside 16 rounds of ammo, which is located in the body of the vehicle. So, a bit like the Stygian, it's another tank, but it's obviously a bit like the Striker, for instance. It's a wheeled vehicle that's sort of, I guess, could be loosely referenced as a tank these days. Obviously, in Battletech, wheeled vehicles and tracked vehicles and stuff, everything gets lumped in as a tank. You know, there's no infantry fighting vehicle or that kind of thing. It all just kind of falls into the same category. And here we have essentially what looks like an armoured truck with a missile launcher and a big laser on the top. Obviously not bad. It does look like it would have trouble manoeuvring some areas, but yeah, I mean, for 45 ton with that kind of firepower, it's not bad. Armor-wise, obviously, it's built to take as many hits on the front as possible before it has to, turn and burn, get the hell out of there. Twin machine guns, pretty good, obviously, for the anti-infantry role. And presumably, if you were using certain quirk rules, gives it the ability to fire to either side of it, possibly all around it, if necessary. Whereas, obviously, the laser does allow it to rotate the turret to be able to shoot in any direction, should a mech decide to try and get behind it, or any other armoured vehicle, or anything along those lines. And the LRM is obviously designed to allow it to engage targets at range alongside the ER large laser while it rolls forward. Not a bad overall unit to wheel out there. Obviously, the cost is quite astronomical for a single tank, making it a little bit eye-watering when other armoured vehicles in a similar kind of weight range probably don't cost anywhere near as much as this, but it does have some snacky equipment in it. Obviously, Artemis really helps, and an ER large laser does allow it to stay at range rather than having to get closer like some other heavier tanks would have to with standard large lasers, so there are some benefits there, definitely. It's another one of those good trooper tanks, essentially. Good on the front lines in most scenarios, and useful as either an antagonist vehicle or good for the players to have in support, or if they're running a merc company, maybe they find a way to make a deal with the authorities in Sky and get their hands on a couple of them, maybe even buy a couple of them that might have ended up on the black market, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's pretty cool little vehicle. Visually, it might not be to everyone's taste, and I completely get that. But the actual stats and the weapon systems, do make it quite viable. So, that's the Glaive. As always, thanks for listening, everybody. And I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.